Woo, it's still hot out here, my friends, but it is market update time, and I am out here at some of my favorite pickleball courts. You may be wondering, don't people play pickleball around here? The answer is yes, but it is so hot, no one else is crazy enough to be out here. Last month, if you remember, we discussed some seasonal cooling off of the market. Is the cooling continuing, or are we seeing an uptick in prices and sales? And what should we make of Apple delaying the building of its campus here in the Raleigh area? Stick around and find out. Here we go. Hi everyone, I'm Heather Taylor, founder of Tailored Realty Group, where we create real estate experiences tailored to who? That's right, tailored to you. Look, a couple people did decide to come on. Oh, they're youngsters, teenagers, playing some pickleball. They can handle the heat. Anyway, if you are enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me. Taking a car break to cool off. If you've checked out my market update for the last couple of months, you'll remember me saying that tracking the change in the median or the average prices month over month or year over year, it's pretty much useless. For further details on that, check out April's market update video. I'll throw a link up here somewhere. Nonetheless, you'll also remember me saying that median prices do have value in giving you a very ballpark idea of pricing in a particular area. So like last month and the previous months, I'll still share the median price for various types of homes in Southwest Raleigh, but more importantly, I'm going to share with you the 3 stats I believe have the most impact on your home buying or selling strategies. Okay, so let's get into these numbers. The spreadsheet you see on the screen breaks down the median prices by town and by type of property. Remember, these are median prices, so half the homes that sold higher than this, half the homes that sold for lower than this price. If you want to get more specific on numbers and the type of house you're looking for, whether you're looking to buy or sell, please schedule a free consultation with me on my website. Let's get into the stats that actually help you determine your buying and selling strategy. As I've mentioned, in my opinion, the 3 most important stats for you to know about are months of supply, list to sales price, and how many sold over, at, and under list price, and then the total days on market. So with that in mind, let's take a look at these metrics for Morrisville-Cary and Apex grouped together, and then Holly Springs and Fuquay, Varina. Months of supply for June in Morrisville-Cary and Apex was 1.5 months. Now let's compare that with May, which was 1.2 months, and then April, which was 0.9 months. So you see a trend kind of going in a slowdown direction. Keep that in mind. We're going to circle back to some of that information a little bit later. Now, when we look at list to sales price, in June, the list to sales price was 101%, which obviously is good, a little bit over asking price. But if you look at May, it was 102%, and April was 102%. So a slight decline there. We want to know how many were under, how many were at, and how many were over list price. So let's take a look at that. In June, 33% of sales were under list price. That compares to May at 29% and April at 29%. Also in June, 17% of the sales were at list price. That compares with 18% in May and 21% in April. And then in June, 50% of the sales were over list price, which compares to 53% in April and 50% in May. So maybe trending a little bit in a slowdown direction ever so slightly. When it comes to days on market, it was just 4 in June compared to 5 in May and 4 in April. So those numbers are pretty flat. Now let's take a look at Holly Springs and Fuquay, Varina. In June, months of supply in Holly Springs and Fuquay, Varina was 1.8 months. Now May was 1.7 and April was 1.5. So you see trending towards a bit of a slowdown. Taking a look at list price to sales price, just like the past 2 months, in June it was 100%. Now, when we look at how many sold under list price, it was 42% in June versus 42% in May and 34% in April. So that kind of had taken a tick up last month. When we look at how many sold at list price, 29% in June versus 30% in May and 30% in April. Not a big difference there. And then how many sold over, 29% in June versus 28% in May, 36% in April. So it's kind of maintaining a trend towards less of a seller's market. Definitely not a buyer's market, but less of a seller's market. Days on market in June were 7 compared to 6 in May and 5 in April. Okay, that was a lot of data. So let's take a deep breath because we're going to talk about more data. I want to talk about something that is really, really important. So please pay attention to this part. All the data that I give you every month is trailing data, right? It's data from last month that the MLS publishes, you know, right around the 1st or 2nd week of the following month. But I want you to take a look at this chart on the screen. This is my chart of days of supply for Cary, Apex, and Holly Springs. I don't typically track Fuquay, Varina. It's always a little bit, the days are always a little bit higher than Holly Springs. But the more important thing to take a look at here is, if you notice, obviously there's seasonal slowdowns every year. But when I take a look at this time last year, I noticed there's a significant difference in the seasonal change. So what I mean by that is in July of 2023, for example, in Apex, there were 19 days of supply. And in July of 2024 in Apex, there are 48 days of supply. That is a 153% difference. I think that's more than a seasonal shift. Now, don't get me wrong, we are still very much in a seller's market, but the same is true for Holly Springs. We have a 42% difference year over year in the days of supply, and for Cary, we have a 104% difference year over year in the days of supply. So, point being, these towns on this side of Raleigh tend to move all kind of together in the same direction at varying speeds. And to be over 100% different than we were last year at this time, to me indicates more than a seasonal slowdown. It indicates things might be slowing down, might be moving more towards a buyer's market. Now, again, 4 to 6 months of supply is a balanced market, and then above that is a buyer's market. So we're still very much in a seller's market. Nonetheless, it is shifting more than it has in previous years, so it's just something to keep an eye on. What does it mean for you? Well, if you're looking to buy, it's good news. It means you might actually get to have a second showing, or you might actually get to take time and think about how much you want to offer on a house. You might get to negotiate. And if you're a seller, it means you definitely want to price and prepare your house properly. Again, I've gone over more specifics on how to price and prepare your house properly. If you want to reach out to me, we can talk about it in detail. Just schedule a free consultation on my website. But the point is, the market is shifting a little bit here, and I think it's definitely something to be aware of. Now, we're still seeing occasional multiple offers. We're still seeing some houses sell over list price, so it's a slow move. But it is important to me to know specifically this week, what does the data look like? And it is still trending into much less of a seller's market. Again, not tipping into a buyer's market. All right, now before I check out for this week, let's touch on the impact of Apple delaying the campus it announced in 2021. Originally, the campus was scheduled to be built out by 2031, and as recently as last December, there were rumors of the project starting in 2026. But now Apple is looking to delay another 4 years. Now, supposedly, Apple is still very committed to coming to Raleigh. They have already hired over 600 employees. They have a couple of leased buildings in Cary and Durham. But everyone knows that what happens with Apple, when Apple comes, lots of other companies follow. So what does it mean for us? We all know that the big giant work campuses are probably, they're definitely shifting. What will they end up being like post-COVID? That still remains to kind of shake out. But the bottom line is people still move here, even if they're working from home. Between the proximity to the beach and the mountains and the top colleges and universities and the weather, even though today is ridiculously hot and now I'm recording in my car, there's so many reasons that people still relocate to this area. So I really think, if the Apple campus is delayed and they're still bringing employees here, that's wonderful. I still think people are going to come here for the other reasons I mentioned, and I still believe it's one of the best places in the United States to live. So if you want to get into more detail on any of that, again, please schedule a free consultation on my website. I would love to speak to you, or feel free to reach out to me at any of the contact methods on the screen. That's all I've got for you here today. Oh, and please subscribe if you're enjoying my content. It really does mean a lot to me. Thanks, guys. I'm out of here. Gonna try to stay cool. See you next week. Bye-bye.